As a realtor, I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but so many people moving to coastal North Carolina from out of state end up regretting their choice. And it's not because this isn't a great place to live. It absolutely is. But they picked the wrong area because they made one of the biggest decisions based on Google, Zillow, and a weekend visit. So they end up spending thousands on a place that doesn't actually fit their lifestyle. By the way, if you're new here, I'm Kimberly Crouch, and I've helped hundreds of people make Wilmington their home. And in this video, I'm gonna show you the 5 areas you might want to think twice about if you're not a local, and the biggest mistake people make when moving here from out of state. So before we get into the list, here's the one thing that catches almost every out-of-state buyer completely off guard. Most people think of coastal North Carolina as one housing market. It's not. The Wilmington coastal region spans 3 counties, New Hanover, Brunswick, and Pender County. Each has different flood zone patterns, different hurricane evacuation routes, different school districts, different property tax structures, and completely different seasonal traffic flows. 2 homes 20 minutes apart can mean completely different flood insurance costs, bridge access during storms, appreciation trajectories, property tax, and summer traffic patterns. None of the areas I'm about to cover are bad places to live. I sell in all of them, and I have happy clients in each area. They're just a bad fit for certain out-of-state buyers who don't understand the coastal trade-offs or the areas. Number 5 on the list is Sunset Beach, Ocean Isle Beach, Holden Beach, and Oak Island, down in Brunswick County. And let me be honest, for certain buyers, these beaches are genuinely a great coastal choice. Beautiful wide beaches, mainland options 10 minutes to the beaches, starting in the $300,000 range, less crowded than the northern beaches, great for remote workers and retirees who want the island life, and second homeowners as well. So why is it on this list? Let me give you a hypothetical. Picture Mark and Jennifer. They relocate from out of state, looking at the map, and they see the southern beaches aren't very far away from Wilmington. Mark works remotely, Jennifer is a nurse, and her job is in Wilmington. On their one house hunting trip, Sunset Beach looked perfect. Quiet, affordable, beautiful beach access, so they chose Sunset Beach. Here's what Jennifer didn't account for. Sunset Beach sits at the far southern end of our coastal region, right near the South Carolina border. Her drive to Wilmington is about an hour and 15 minutes each way. And that's the part a lot of people miss. It's not much of a traffic problem. The roads move just fine most of the time. And it's only about 45 miles on the map, so it doesn't look too far, but it adds up to about 2.5 hours in the car. That was never part of the plan. So if you're fully remote, working in South Brunswick, or retired, the southern North Carolina beaches make wonderful sense. If you need to be in Wilmington or the northern beaches several days a week, that daily drive deserves a hard look before you commit. So who are the southern beaches actually a great fit for? Retirees, remote workers, second homeowners, anyone who doesn't need daily access to Wilmington, anyone who wants a quieter beach without the crowds. So here's my opinion. The southern beaches aren't a bad choice. They're a great choice for a lot of people. But before you decide, be honest about where you'll need to drive each day and how often. And the flip side is just as important. Some of my favorite clients are retirees, and they moved to Oak Island. They dreamed of living at the beach their whole lives. They landed on Oak Island, and they absolutely love it. No commute pulling them north, just the coastal life they'd pictured for years. Before you choose it, map your commute at 8 a.m. on a July morning, not a February afternoon when it's quiet. Let's head north up to Castle Hayne and the areas above it. This one's fun because online, it looks amazing. Take River Bluffs. It's this gated community sitting right on the northeast Cape Fear River. Gorgeous homes, great amenities, the kind of photos that stop you mid-scroll. But here's what the pictures may not show you. When you're actually standing there, it feels pretty rural, very eastern North Carolina. And that's not necessarily a bad thing at all. A lot of people are looking for exactly that. It just catches some folks off guard when they were picturing a quick trip into town. You're looking at about 20 minutes or more to downtown Wilmington, around 35 minutes to Wrightsville Beach, and about 45 to Carolina Beach. Close enough, probably not pop down to the beach after dinner close. There's one more thing I always walk buyers through here, and I share it because I'd want to know it myself. Castle Hayne is low-lying in spots. And back in 2018, Hurricane Florence brought enough water that it actually cut off road access into Wilmington for a while. Rivers around here hit record flooding. Now, something like Florence doesn't happen often. That was a big one, but it did happen and it's worth knowing. The other thing to understand is that the risk really depends on the exact spot. A home sitting up high on the bluff in River Bluffs could be in a much lower risk zone, while a home down in one of the lower lying areas might be in a higher one. That's the whole reason we look at flood maps and elevation on the actual property before you fall in love with it and make an offer. So who's Castle Hayne and the North End really a great fit for? Buyers who want more house for their money, who love being close to the new Amazon fulfillment center. That's only about 15 minutes away. And anyone drawn to a quieter, more rural feel in an area that will likely grow over time. I know this can seem like a lot of information and a lot of different areas, and that's why I've developed a quiz to ask you 11 questions and help you determine where you fit best. It takes 3 minutes and the results are emailed directly to you. Check it out in the link below this video. Okay, so here's where it starts to get really interesting, because the next area on this list is one that a lot of people would actually tell you is perfect for coastal living. And for certain buyers, they're right. Area 3 is Landfall, and this one's a little different from the others. Landfall is genuinely spectacular. It's the premier gated community in Wilmington, 24/7 staffed gates, mature live oaks, a country club, and it sits about a mile from Wrightsville Beach. On paper, it's the dream. So why is it on this list? Because there are a few things that may not be apparent when you first find Landfall, and they matter. First is the housing stock. A lot of Landfall was built in the 90s and early 2000s, and even earlier. You can find homes starting around 700,000, but those are usually the smaller, older ones that'll need updating. And the kitchen, the bathrooms, the systems, that adds up fast. The median sale price in Landfall is actually around $1.4 million as of June 2026. So if you're picturing a turnkey luxury, your real number is a lot closer to 7 figures than 700,000. Second, that mile from Wrightsville Beach, it can be deceiving. It's true from the southeast gate of the community, but Landfall is big. It's about 2,200 acres. So if your home is on the northeast side, you have to wind through the community or go through one of the gates off Military Cutoff Road and around, and then across the drawbridge, which opens for boat traffic in season. That 1 mile can easily turn into a 15-minute drive or more each way. And third, the dues. Landfall isn't a single HOA. It's a council of associations. The base fee runs around $4,000, a little bit more, a year just to be there. And that's before your individual sub-community. And fourth, the part that surprises people most, the country club. Buying a home in Landfall does not get you into the club. Membership is separate, in addition to the HOA fees. And full golf initiation as of this video runs $75,000 with monthly dues on top of that. And the full golf membership has a wait list of about 7 to 9 years as of right now. So if golf at the club is the whole reason you're moving there, know that going in. So who's Landfall genuinely great for? Buyers who want true gated luxury and the amenities to match. People who are comfortable in the 7-figure range and budget for the dues and the club. And folks who love the lifestyle enough that the wait list and the fees are just part of the deal. And the proximity to Wrightsville Beach, drive time aside, is a major factor. My opinion, Landfall isn't a bad choice at all. It's a wonderful community. It's just a community where the price of the home is only part of the real cost. And now on to area number 2. Number 2 is the Topsail Island area, including Surf City and North Topsail Beach. I love Topsail, so hear me out on this. It's a long, narrow barrier island that still feels pristine and a little off the beaten path. Beaches on the island can be wide and beautiful, and for the right buyer, that's the whole appeal. But there are a few realities you may not understand until you live here. First, erosion. Topsail is a barrier island, and barrier islands move. Parts of the island, especially up on the North Topsail end, deal with ongoing beach erosion, and that can mean beach nourishment projects and a shoreline that genuinely shifts over time. And here's a tip. You don't have to take anyone's word for it. You can look up the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality's most recent inlet hazard areas and their erosion rate predictions right on their website. So before you buy, you can see exactly how a specific stretch of shoreline is projected to behave over the next few decades. It's manageable, but it's something you want to understand before you buy, not after. Second, the feel. Once you're out there, it's quieter and more rural than a lot of people expect. Fewer restaurants, restaurants, limited services, a slower pace overall. A lot of buyers love that. Some are surprised by it. Just know which one you are before you commit. And third, weekend traffic. Topsail is a big weekly rental island, more so than some other areas here. So on summer weekends, you have a whole wave of vacationers turning over, checking out, checking in, all using the same couple of access points. And that can turn a quick trip on or off the island into a slow crawl during peak season. So who is Topsail Island actually a great fit for? True beach lovers who want that quieter, more remote island feel. People who don't need city amenities at their fingertips, and second homeowners who visit seasonally and go in eyes open on the trade-offs. My opinion, Topsail offers something genuinely special. I love it. The quiet and the slower pace are the feature, not a flaw. You just want to choose it knowing it's island living, not coastal convenience. And that brings us to number 1, Leland. I know a lot of you love Leland. It's a wonderful area and it's a great fit for so many people, but it lands at number 1 because it's the spot out-of-state buyers often picture wrong. So here's what you actually need to know. First, the commute. Leland sits across the Cape Fear River from Wilmington. Off-peak, you can be downtown in 15 minutes or so, but at rush hour, everything funnels over the bridges into town, and that drive can stretch out fast. Second, the beach. A lot of buyers assume Leland is a beach town. It's not. You're looking at least 30 minutes to the sand, often more depending on which beach and what traffic's doing. Third, construction. Leland is one of the fastest growing areas in the region. That means a lot of active building and road work going on around you. New neighborhoods, new commercial centers, ongoing infrastructure projects. And for some people, that's exciting. For others, living next to constant construction wears thin. And here's a related one, the shopping and dining. Most of what you'll find in Leland is newer strip mall retail and chain restaurants. It's convenient, it's close, and it's growing every year. And there are some local ones too. But some people love having everything right there in a tidy, easy to reach spot. Others miss the locally owned downtown feel you get over in Wilmington. Neither is wrong. It's just a matter of what you want your everyday to look like. And that ties right into the last 2 points, which are honestly part of the appeal. Leland is growing. You're getting in on an area that's clearly on the way up, and your money goes further here. The median sale price in Leland is around $417,000 and an average of $212 per square foot over last year, meaningfully less than what you'll pay in Wilmington, which has a median of $480,000 and an average price per square foot of $275 over the same time period. So you genuinely get more house for your dollar in Leland than you do in Wilmington. So who's Leland a great fit for? Buyers who want more space and more home for their budget. People who are excited about a growing area and don't mind some construction around them. And folks who are fine being 30 minutes or more from the beach rather than right on it. My opinion, Leland isn't a bad choice at all. It's one of the best in the region. You just want to go in knowing it's a growing community. Match your expectations to that, and Leland can be a fantastic place to land. Okay, I've given you a lot of information, and every buyer's situation is different. And when you're relocating from out of state, you're making a decision about a coastal market you've maybe only visited once. So instead of guessing, I built something to help take the guesswork out of the decision. It's a free Wilmington neighborhood match quiz. You answer a few quick questions about your lifestyle and your budget, whether you're fully remote or commuting into town. What's your real all-in budget? And it points you toward the coastal communities in our area that fit your situation. It takes about 3 minutes and it's completely free. You'll find the link in the description below. Now let's move on to the biggest mistake that out-of-state buyers make when moving here. Over the past several years, I've helped dozens of people relocate to the Wilmington coastal region from all over the country. I run the Living in Wilmington YouTube channel, which has honestly become my main source of relocation clients. And after dozens of these moves a year, one pattern shows up more than any other. The buyers who end up frustrated, it's almost never because they picked the wrong beach town. It's because they went through one of the biggest purchases of their lives without anyone truly in their corner. And here's where it happens the most: new construction. Picture this. You're out here on a visit, you drive into a brand new community, and you walk into the model home. There's a friendly agent right there, happy to to help. What a lot of out-of-state buyers don't realize is that agent works for the builder or the developer, not for you. They represent the seller's interests in that transaction. That's their job. So if you walk in without your own representation, you're negotiating one of the largest deals of your life completely on your own against people who do this every single day. And you can absolutely have your own agent. Now, here's the other piece. If you do go find your own agent, almost every one of them is going to tell you that they understand coastal property. And many of them truly do know this market well for local buyers. But coastal relocation from out of state is a different skill set. It's flood zones, elevation, insurance, salt air maintenance, short-term rental rules, seasonal market timing, and the people who have lived on the coast for over a decade know all of this in their bones. You likely don't yet. So the real question isn't whether an agent says they know coastal. It's whether they can actually show you. Here's what that looks like in practice and what I've seen go sideways when it's missing. Buyers who didn't find out their home sat in a FEMA flood zone until underwriting. The required flood insurance added thousands a year to their carrying costs. Finding out your beachfront home is non-conforming in a coastal inlet hazard area after the due diligence period is over. Not understanding the higher property taxes in some of the Wilmington metro area versus others. Not understanding what's common to come up in an inspection report, what to ask the seller for, and what's a fairly easy fix. Not realizing we don't have any contingencies in our purchase contracts here. We have a due diligence period and a non-refundable due diligence fee instead. Very different for a lot of out-of-state buyers. So how do you find someone who can actually back up the coastal claim? First, ask how many out-of-state coastal relocation buyers they've worked with in the last 12 months. Second, ask them to walk you through the insurance and property tax differences between a home in Wilmington and one in Leland at the same price point. And third, ask if they have an actual relocation process, not just a quick buyer chat, a real framework built for people who don't yet know these coastal markets. Do they take the time to explain how the buying process in North Carolina works up front? If you're thinking about a move to coastal North Carolina in the next few months, and you want someone who does this every single day, call or text me at 910-218-8187. Based on where you're coming from and what you need from beach access, work, lifestyle, and budget, we'll figure out exactly which part of the coastal region fits you best. So now you know where to be careful, but do you know which coastal North Carolina communities out-of-state buyers actually end up loving once they get here? The answer is not always the obvious one, and it depends almost entirely on your situation. I'm Kimberly Crouch with eXp Realty, your coastal relocation specialist, offering you authentic coastal luxury at every price point.